Like, oh my gosh, because at this point I'm like, oh, what do I do to get out of this situation? Part 2 of my worst college experience. I know I stated I was gonna post this after part 1, but I never really came around to doing it, to be honest, because the whole story was just an embarrassment to me, in my opinion. But here we are, you know, we're back, and I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys the part 2. If you're new to this channel, go ahead and watch part 1. It's part 1 of my worst college experience. This is part 2, so in order for you to understand part 2, you're gonna have to watch part 1. But for y'all that that have already seen part 1, keep watching this video because it gets interesting, y'all. So where I had left off previously, I was meeting all of these different guys at homecoming, and y'all, it was just a mess. Like, as the night was getting worse, the guys was getting worse. You know, kept running into these guys. I usually don't say no to giving my number away, only because it's a safety precaution for me, because in the past I have had incidences where I have refused giving my number away to said men and things like that, and it hasn't really gone in my favor. I've had instances where I've almost had to fight for, you know, my protection, and a lot of the times that I have said no, I wasn't in the presence of somebody that I trusted, that was a man that could defend me. So yeah, I just don't like to put myself in predicaments to have to battle men for my own safety. Like, I'd rather just be as compliant as possible and get out of the situation first, and then deal with the situation the way I want to deal with it. In this case, you know, as far as like giving my number, that's nothing. As soon as I give you my number, I'm finna block you anyways. It's nothing to it. There's no point in me arguing with you. There's no point in me being combative with you, because I don't know who you are and you don't know who I am, and I don't got time for you to put hands on me just because I rejected you. So yeah, but that's a whole nother discussion. Finally, I meet this guy. So it's at this point, it's getting later. It's getting later in the afternoon. The sun is kind of going down, which is great because it's been hot the whole day, y'all. It was like burning the up outside. Like, it was bad. So at this point, my wig is kind of, you know, barely hanging on, but we're here. Makeup is just done for, and I'm still walking around kind of like all over the place. Like, I was with my roommate still, and we were just saying hey to people and things like that. Every now and then we'd separate and meet back up and, you know, check in, like, what you doing, what we doing, you want to go over here, okay, let's go. We were just walking around, you know, kind of catching a vibe, and it was cool. Like, they were still strolling as usual, getting drinks. There's, at this point, there's liquor still circulating, but not as much as it was earlier, because, mind y'all, we've been outside all day. So the only thing that's kind of left is maybe like spritzers or whatever, like that type of thing, like cheap liquor and stuff like that, which I'm not really entertaining because I'm already kind of been drunk all day. I'm kind of taking a little break on the drinking. So boom, I'm walking with my roomie, and I run into this guy. Immediately, I can already kind of sense that he's gonna pull me aside, because I've been having this same little battle with men the whole day, y'all. So like, as soon as we locked eyes, I kind of knew he was gonna try to talk to me. And my roommate, I guess she peeped it too, so she just kept walking, and he pulls me aside or whatever, and he's like, oh, hi, you know, nice to meet you, I was just trying to get to know you or whatever. And y'all, I'm at this point, I'm tired. I am literally so tired of speaking to men. Like, I'm so over the situation. Like, I'm ready to be out of the presence of other people. Like, my social battery is down, but I'm, like I said, I don't refuse the attention only for my safety. It's only for my safety. Like, if I do like a guy, then obviously I'm going to be comfortable. But in these situations, I was very much uncomfortable. So we're talking or whatever, and he's just telling me like where he's from and things like that. He basically told me he wasn't from the area. He wasn't a student at the university, which I could kind of tell, because like, y'all, you know how you're in college, you can kind of tell when people are your age, or they actually go to the university, because you see them a lot, or you just kind of know from like social media if you're not you don't actually know the person, you know them from social media and they have it in their bio most of the time, or you just kind of know word of mouth, like they go to the school. I could easily pick up like he's not from the school, like, but he's telling me his whole breakdown and stuff like that. He was a cool person, but I could tell like while we were talking, he was kind of slurring his words. And so he's talking to me and he's like, you know, hey, what are you doing tonight? You know, same old lines. And I'm just like, yeah, after this, I really don't know. I know there's an after party. I'm probably gonna hit up one of the after parties with my roommate, and then, you know, from there I'm just kind of winging it. And he was like, yeah, but I don't want you to leave.
I said, no, you can kill all that right now. Like at this moment, stop.
At first I brushed it off when he said this, and I was just like, oh, okay, you know, like he's just trying to be flirtatious. You know, I'm ignoring all of the red flags. I would say this guy was really not my type, you guys. Just to give you a rough description, he was skinnier. He was about my color. He was shorts, in my opinion. My version of short is my height or shorter. And I would say he was like maybe a foot above me, not even that tall. He was kind of rough around the edges looking, like you could tell he had been drinking the whole day. He kind of looked like he had been through it, like it had been a rough long day, which for everybody out there it was, but like you could tell that some of us got very drunk and some of us could handle our liquor, if you know what I mean. So I could tell he really couldn't handle his liquor, and I was getting a little nervous because in comparison to the other guys I had seen that, you know, they were shaky on their handling of the liquor, I would have to say that he was the worst one out of the three, because he just looked so sloppy, like, and then by the way he was talking, you could kind of tell he was not in control, not 100%. So he's talking to me and I'm kind of noticing like little subtle signs, but like I said, I'm trying to be as cool, calm, and collected as possible, trying to think of my out. And so I'm just like, oh yeah, you know, I'll hit you up sometime and we'll just have to text or whatever. And so I give him my number, make it my exit. I'm like, I'll talk to you some other time. Have a great night. And at this point, he's not going for that, y'all. Like, he was not going for that at all. He was like, where are you going? Like, I'm coming with you. Let me come with you. Wherever you gotta go, we can do this together. And I'm just like, excuse me? Like, I'm done for the night. This is it. Like, I'm about to go. Goodbye. You know, I'm trying to create my exit in the most calm way, y'all. Like, I'm just like, oh no, I'm good. I'm gonna go find my roomie and stuff like that so we can head out. It was like, no, stay a little longer. Everything is good. And I'm like, yeah, but yeah, I do. At this point, I forgot all about my boyfriend situation, like my lie, y'all. And so I try to pull it out real fast. Like, it's already too late at this point, but I try to pull out my lie and I'm like, hey, you know, I do have a boyfriend and he's strolling right now, so I'm gonna have to go. You know, I don't want him to find out that we're talking, because if he finds out that we're talking, he will kill us. Like, he don't play that. And so he's not going for that at all. So like, I say this and I noticed that like it's a change in him. Like, he gets mad, y'all. Like, he starts getting so mad. So I'm like, hey, you know, I'm not gonna leave right now. He was like, I really don't give a fuck about that. I really don't give a fuck about that. I don't care about your little boyfriend. Where is he at? Point him out to me so we can have a little chat. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Because at this point, I'm like, oh, what do I do to get out of this situation? Because I'm a woman. There's nothing really I can do other than like, you know, say, you know, leave me alone and stuff, because I can't compete where I can't compete. I cannot fight a man. Like, that's crazy for me to even try to fight a man. They got hands, you know. Our hands is not, you know, as crazy as theirs, unless you know, just MMA out here. But no, like, I was legit scared because I feel like he just wasn't having it for anything I was saying. Like, everything I was telling him, it was automatically aggression. So I'm like, you know, hey, you know, I really have to go because he is going to be looking for me. And I say it again because he continues to like talk to me about his social media and things like that. And I'm just uninterested. Like, I'm ready to leave. I had enough of being outside, period. At this point, I'm ready to go to like the after party, or, you know, just chill for a second, take a break from the drinking and the environment and all the music and stuff, because we've been out there all day. So I say to him again, like, hey, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and go. I'll see you some other time. My boyfriend's gonna be looking for me at any time now. And so he was like, I already told you, I don't give a fuck about that. And y'all, this nigga pulls his gun out. He pulls his gun out on me. Like, he literally pulls his gun out and he loads the gun. And we're in public, so that's how I know, like, he was kind of off of something, because no normal, like, guy is gonna, like, pull out his gun in front of a whole crowd of people unless he just wants to go to jail. Like, unless he legit is gonna actually use that shit, or he legit doesn't give a fuck, or like he's off of something. That's the only way a guy is gonna literally pull his gun out in front of a bunch of random people, like, you know what I mean? So he pulls his gun out, y'all, and at this point he's still saying to me, like, I don't give a fuck, where is that nigga at? I already told you, I don't want to hear about that nigga. If you say something else about that nigga, we're gonna have a problem. And I'm like, still trying to keep my cool. So boom, y'all, I'm just like, okay, let me think, because at this point I look behind me. I'm like glancing, trying to see subtly without him noticing that I'm looking for my roomie, because at this point me and her had separated, because we just had this little thing. We was just kind of like separate, come back together, separate, come back together. We'd speak to people, go here, then come back together. So I was looking for her. I'm like, shit, maybe she can help me, because I don't know where the fuck she's at. Maybe she can save me. So I'm like, let me text her and see where she's at. So I'm like texting her, but as I'm going to my messages, I'm noticing he's looking at my phone. He's looking at my phone while I'm looking at my phone, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't even text her without him knowing. Like, this nigga has a gun, and I'm a little bit scared at this point, because I can tell he's not in control of his actions. So it's not that I think he would do something. I think that his emotions are all over the place, to the point where if he did do something, he probably wouldn't even be in control of whether or not he's doing it, if that makes sense. Like, because I can tell he's practically off a drug. So I'm like, let me think. I gotta figure out a way to get out of the situation calmly. So I'm still entertaining the conversation with him, and he's just talking about like him and where he's from and stuff like that. And I'm constantly like looking here, looking there, trying to see if my roommate's gonna pop back up at some point. And at this point, it's been 20 minutes. We've still been talking. So I'm stuck outside. There's not a lot of people out at the tailgate at this point, but there's still a good number of people to where they wouldn't notice that, hey, I'm kind of looking a little like, help me. I'm looking like, help me, somebody help me. So from where we had the tailgate at, it was this big lawn basically, and it's right next to a Subway. Everybody that was at the tailgate, whenever they had to use the restroom, they would go to the Subway across the street, or they'd go to Campus Bar. So I'm like, boom, I got it. I'm gonna say I gotta go to the restroom. So I'm like, hey, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and use the restroom. And at this point, he's still following me to the restroom. On the way there, midway, one of his friends like comes over to him, and they're like talking to him like, hey, you good? You looking really drunk. Are you good? Like, are you sick or anything? And he's like, no. And I hear him in the distance saying no, responding to them. And I eventually make it to the Subway. Obviously, I didn't have to use the restroom, so I passed the Subway. Y'all, I didn't drive there, I walked. So at this point, I'm texting my roomie like, hey, where are you? I needed you. I didn't see you or whatever. And she texts me back, and she's like, oh, I'm back at the room with some friends. Just meet us over there whenever you go and get your car. And I was like, cool. So I go and walk to my car, immediately leave campus, and go meet up with my friend to go to the after party. So I told like my roommate and everybody that's there what happened and everything. And it was just really like traumatic. Like in the moment, I think I was more calm than I was after I realized how in danger I was when I was explaining it to them. Like, I was just really scared, y'all. Like, I have never been put in a situation where, actually I have been, but like I'm getting a little emotional, to be honest, because I was really nervous about the situation. It's crazy to me that somebody would do this to me. Like, I know this happens to women all the time, to where, you know, like, guys don't take no for an answer, and then they're having to figure a way out of a situation that they shouldn't be put in because men don't respect women or things of that nature. And I feel like it was just so scary to me that I could have gotten shot because a guy couldn't control whatever substance he was on, and he couldn't take no for an answer. Like, it was just ridiculous to me that I was even in this situation. I would have to say this was one of my worst college experiences, because it was just crazy to me that a guy would literally pull a gun on me. Nobody knew. Like, I couldn't really, like, what am I gonna do? Shout for help? Like, hey, this guy has a fucking gun. Like, I'm pretty sure it was a bunch of people out there with guns, but, you know, they're not drunk off their ass and, like, harassing women. So it was just really, like, scary to think that I could have lost my life. That is the story time of my worst college experience ever. Of course, I went ahead and blocked the guy after the tailgate. Now, after that experience, I'm a little more careful being out late or being out without being with somebody all the time, because I feel like if I would have had somebody with me, like a male figure or something like that, that would have never gotten to that point. And, you know, it could have been de-escalated a little bit better. But hey, I did figure it out. Nothing happened to me. I had no marks on my body. I thank God that, like, his friends had came over there and talked to him, because had it been that he followed me to Subway, I'm pretty sure he would have kept following me the whole night, and it would have became a physical altercation, because it's only so calm I can be in a situation like that where my nerves are running high, because 1, you have a gun, 2, you're harassing me, 3, you're annoying me, because every time I tell you to leave me alone, you're not respecting it. So yeah, I was just shook after that shit. So, like, now I'm more careful in college and, like, going out late and going to parties and stuff like that, because you just never know what kind of guys will approach you. You don't know who you're talking to. And it's like, a lot of us in college, we really don't think about that when we're in the moment. We're just trying to have a good time. Yeah, that was my worst college experience. And yes, y'all, I am gonna have more story times coming. I'm so sorry that it took me literally 3 months to get this part 2 out. I was really kind of embarrassed. But yeah, this is part 2. So if you're new to this channel, you made it to the end of the story time, go ahead and hit that subscription button, hit that thumbs up button if you like this video, and leave a comment. Like, y'all, let me know how y'all felt about this story time, because honestly, it was hard for me to tell it, to be honest. It's just so crazy. Like, every time I think about it, I kind of relive it a little bit, and I'm like, damn, that was crazy. And then also, you know, just stay tuned. I'm gonna have another story time for you guys. But yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video.
Damn, she in her move. Like, damn, she in her move. Like, damn, she in her move. She lit.